To make it big in Hollywood, you've got to be smart, savvy, and quick, but you also have to be tough.
Elaine Goldsmith-Thomas just happens to be all of those things. She's worked with Jennifer Lopez and Halle Berry's production companies, Julia Roberts, Spike Lee, Madonna, and more.
So how does a high-profile producer, writer, agent maintain sanity and an even keel? We're about to find out. Elaine, welcome to Believe in People.
Thank you. What a nice way to start the day.
Well, we're grateful for you being here. And Elaine, you have been in the entertainment industry a long time. How do you maintain your sanity?
I mean, isn't that a presumption that I do? I mean, if everything's crazy, nothing's crazy, right? And so I don't know. Oh, yay! Now I just see me on delay. How do I? Are you guys still there?
We are.
Of course.
Okay, because I lost you. There you are. I just think you take it in bite-sized pieces, and I think you learn to not be reactive, and you learn to sort of. They say when you're in a riptide, the best thing to do. Some people say it's to swim along the horizon. Other people say it's to float. You know, you sometimes I find that it keeps me sane by floating.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Does it teach you anything about human nature, interacting in this industry that you're in, interacting not only with people who we all revere, but also interacting with people who want us to revere them?
Well, I would say most people, I don't know if they want to be revered, but they want to be respected, right? I wouldn't limit that to celebrity. I find that most of the celebrities with whom I've worked, whether they're stars or directors or executives, are inordinately smart, well-read, curious, many self-taught. I find them interesting and enlightening often. Mm-hmm. And yes, there's a narcissism involved with celebrity, certainly, but there's a narcissism involved with society. When you have a phenomenon called YouTube, you realize that it is inbred into our society. I don't limit it to celebrity. I think we're a society that's constantly saying, look at me.
Yeah.
So we have to be selective what we look at, and even more selective how we let that affect us. Because oftentimes people search their socials instead of their souls for answers. And I would pretty much venture to guess that the answers are inside. You're not going to.
I love that you said that. Yeah, I love that you said that, Elaine, because that's pretty powerful. I don't think people reflect on that. So I mean, knowing this, and I mean, this is maybe an obvious question, but what drives you?
Well, that's a big question. What makes Sammy run? I mean, you know, probably a mix of the best things in my life and the worst. Probably the fact that my superpower is both my strength and my kryptonite. I don't take no, right? I'm writing a book, which will come out next year, called She Just Wanted In. Right now, that's what it's called. And it's about 3 women who take on the William Morris Agency. It's very scandalous and salacious and fictional, even though I was at William Morris. It's more of a triptych of things I saw, and then I turn left because it's fictional and it's, three women who bring William Morris to its knees, a place that they often went to. It is not a feminist manifesto, because some of the women actually become versions of the monsters who train them. Mm-hmm. It's a slice of life that I saw about three women who were driven to get the yes. And I think I was formed and informed by parents, my mother willing me to keep trying, and my dad teaching me that no didn't really mean no. It just meant try again. And if I was clever enough, and if I was smart enough or pretty enough or funny enough or sweet enough, I'd get the fill in the blank, the television show or the candy or the trip to Yosemite, whatever it was that I wanted. It was just, it meant no, meant try again, try harder, wiggle your toe in, and then you can work that toe. And again, that became a strength for me to learn how to seduce the yes, to learn how to cajole it, to learn how to get it, and a weakness. So it's really, life is about finding that balance, right? Understanding what drives us and understanding that we need balance. That's where I'm at. You know, you reach 50, you're at the second half of your life. So you've got to see, what have I learned and how can I improve part two?
Why do you suggest that sometimes yes is a weakness? If I'm to understand what you
not yes is a weakness, not accepting no. Sometimes you're not supposed to eat the candy. Sometimes no is no. Sometimes when someone says no, it doesn't mean try harder. It means respect me.
Yeah.
So you have to navigate that, right? No is not always, I'll try again. That could be a disaster in many, many ways.
No can
they tell men.
No can be a good thing. Men,
what?
No can be a good thing.
Yes, they tell men, if a woman says no, stop, right? Okay. Sometimes no is no. So it's navigating what no is and when to push. It's finding the balance.
Yeah, it's true. And Elaine, I'm really interested in your book. I think that's going to be a really interesting read. And I want, as part of it, I don't know if it is necessarily, but I want to swing into ageism, because it's alive and well, particularly in the entertainment industry. I've had spoken to a number of women, particularly, that this has been a burden, unfortunately. What's your experience, or the experience of your colleagues that may have spoken to you with respect to age discrimination?
I don't know, because I've had my own little battle with it, because I always lie about it. So I have my own little battle with it, where I have an age range, never an age. It's kind of like, I once Googled myself and it said, how old is she? And I stopped Googling. You know, I think that for men in their 50s and 60s, and now even 70s, they're reinventing. Spielberg just won the Golden Globe last night. For women, it's an anomaly. So I don't know. I mean, I don't dwell on it. I feel like I'm 35 with the wisdom of a, 59-year-old. But it's there, certainly. And it's insidious. It's not the overt ageism that anybody has to fight. It's the insidious ageism. It's, I don't know. I mean, whatever. So I don't know. I mean, again, it's nothing you can ever do. So you have to use it as a bonus. You have to go, I'm excited for my book too. It's fun. It's a little Jacqueline Suzanne. I mean, it's three girls who there's a lot of sex and drugs and wiggle room, because in the 80s at William Morris, they called, or some of the people called you sexy Terrys. And it wasn't that long ago that it is rather shocking. So it's based on truth and then turning left. It's seeing people that I knew and then inventing different backstories. It's doing an homage to Sue Mengers, who was a mentor of sorts, and Tony Howard, but it's not a documentary. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It will give people a little bit of a peek of how hard it was to survive the boys' club of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way explains people like Harvey Weinstein, people like that who pushed and bullied, and talk about not taking no, right, Kev? But you understand the DNA, because there were many more people, maybe not quite as extreme as that, but many more people like him. There were no rules. There were no rules. I remember a guy came up to me and said, "Can I have a blowjob?" He was my friend. I said, "How do you ask me that?" And he said, "You don't ask, you don't get." This was the 80s.
Yeah.
They'd slap your ass. I
was going to say, has it changed? I mean,
well,
do you believe it's changed, or has it gone underground like everything else?
No, I think it's changed dramatically. I think it's swept so far to the other side that people are afraid to open their mouths. I think it's gone, they're canceling people that I'm sorry, Al Franken, really? It's gone too far to the other side, in my opinion. But yes, no, it's changed dramatically. Can you imagine somebody saying, "Hey, that's my sexy Terry now"? Now, have the belief system changed? No. Do I think there's still boys' clubs or men that feel safer with men? Probably, especially in light of what's happening now. But, there's a scene in my book where one of the agents is having sex with an actress, and he lets his as a bonus, his assistant listen in on the intercom, and that's based on a real thing that I had heard from the person that it happened to. It's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a power thing, isn't it?
Couch come alive. It's power. It's indulgence. It's I can get what I want.
Yeah.
It's how far can I push it? It was the way of the world. And, I know people who worked for really bad guys, but they felt like if they complained, they would just be marked. They couldn't survive it. So it was about, how do I survive you? Anyway, that's the book. And it's fun. It's fun. I'm just,
sounds like it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So it'll be out next year. I'm not sure. I'm just looking something up. I'm not sure when. It might be next February, and I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know. It's St. Martin's Press, and I'll let you guys know when. I was looking for the release date, but I don't know yet.
Can I ask you, and this is coming from someone who spent his entire life in television, when it comes to, you mentioned the Golden Globes earlier, and there's it's all the talk of what happens at these award programs, and whether or not the guy's funny enough, or whether or not somebody lies down on the floor and steals the attention from someone else, and you were mentioning earlier about how a lot of these people are really intelligent and really curious, and we're all very curious about what goes on in that kind of world. But I guess the question I'm trying to ask here in the simplest way as possible is how do the two kind of meet up with one another? How does the reality of it satiate those who are watching on television? Is it a real world there?
I don't know if I understand your question. I don't think that the Globes or award shows satiate people in the audience. I think it's right now, I think it's Hollywood in transition, trying to hold on very tightly to a platform that may quickly becoming anachronistic. The amount of award shows that we had, I mean, Screen Actors Guild Awards now are on Netflix's YouTube channel. People aren't as interested, and not enough are going out to movies. So we're in a time of transition. And I think that the award shows that started in 29 with Wings, were sort of a hangnail from the contract player days. They were designed to amplify the movie so people would go to them. I think Harvey Weinstein actually used it to his advantage to create box office, right, in the 80s and 90s and aughts, so that if you got an award, it meant box office. And I don't know that we know what it means right now anymore. I don't know what it means is the answer.
Well, perhaps that's one of the reasons why I had such a hard time asking the question, because, and I think you nailed it, because something is in transition right now. And I guess a lot of us can't quite figure out what it is.
Well, the world's in transition, right? We can all feel it. And the pandemic's reinvented us. I mean, look at us. We're doing this on Zoom. Who the hell knew what Zoom was before 2020? And we've become insular. We're staying in our homes. We're watching our shows. We're binge watching series. We're living in an age where Amazon was selling books, and now it's selling everything, including entertainment. And I don't know. I mean, do people want to go to movies? I think so. Avatar is going to cross $2 billion.
Yeah.
But as you see the trends, people are waiting for the movies to come to streaming also. So it's grappling with the reality of that and finding the balance again, because it used to be every Friday night you'd go out to a movie, Friday or Saturday. That was the thing people did, right? So I think we are in a time of transition. I don't know what it was like when they went from talkies to silent, but I do know eventually silent became the dinosaur. I don't know what it's like between broadcast and streaming. So I don't know. There might be broadcasts, might be live events, news shows, the things that require an immediacy. But then again, middle America watches a lot of these shows that are, so it's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when it's confusing, Kevin, and when you don't know, rather than getting anxious, people out there, float. Live in the uncertainty. It'll make your life better.
Yeah, I like that. And, that might be, Elaine, that might just be your secret to your success. I wanted to ask you, you were one of the top, and I'm curious to see, first of all, learn how you started in this industry, but you were the top female agent in the industry, guiding careers of actors, Julia Roberts, Tim Robbins, Madonna, Susan Sarandon, Patrick Dempsey. I mean, so many, Matt Dillon, Darren Star, Spike Lee. What do you owe or attribute your success to? And is there any secret formula? Is it just hanging in there? It can't be. It's what's your thoughts around that?
It's navigating. It's studying the rats in the maze. It's navigating. Right. It is hanging in there. Yeah. It's believing. It's understanding that Hollywood is a world where people put their fingers in their mouth to see which way the wind is blowing. And you have to learn how to blow the wind. It's not 2 + 2 = 4. It's passion. My truth may not be your truth. So it's really holding fast to what you believe and trying to convince other people. It's finding the middle ground. It's getting in, right? Yeah. Getting the yes. And I think my dad sold insurance. People liked him. He liked people. He was genuinely curious. And he found a way to get the yes, and he taught me. And yeah, I was an agent for a long time. What gripes me is that we called it the biggest female agent. I don't know why divide it by sexes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How great would it be
Yeah.
as you were one of the top agents? It's not
Yeah.
the Olympics.
Exactly.
But yes, that's what they said. I was the biggest female agent. And somehow I took pride with that. But secretly I went, you feel like it's somehow a level down. You don't have the muscle to be the biggest agent. You know, they'd give me the award if the word female was there. I don't know.
Right.
Again, it's just ego at the end of the day. And it wasn't, I don't diminish what I did, because when you represent superstars, I also represented Jennifer Lopez and Julia and all of them. When you represent superstars, you know, you're the first line of defense. You see, when you represent the biggest star in the world, you see every script. It's not the ones necessarily you say yes to. Sometimes it's the ones you say no to.
So,
but yes, I did that for many years, and then I decided to reinvent. I mean, I think I was always a writer, and I think that in those days, you could only, if you were an agent, you couldn't say you were also a writer. I don't know that your clients wanted you to be. I don't know that the agency wanted me to be. So I was an agent, and I'd read scripts and I'd call the writers and I'd say, this might be an interesting fix, or, you know. And there was a man named Ron Bass, still is, who he had sent me a script, My Best Friend's Wedding, and he was very giving and generous to me, because they were doing some reshoots on it, and I gave him ideas, and he told me to stand in front of them. He said, these are great, you know. And I went, oh, you know, again, you try to, you know, closet your secret talent. But he encouraged me, and I told him that recently. I said, it was you who said, because he said, you're a writer. I said, well, I'm an agent. And then after agenting, I ran a studio on the East Coast, Revolution Studios, and I produced, and I'd secretly write. I'd write with the writers. I'd fix scripts if they needed it. I did whatever I had to do to get the movies made. The goal was getting the movie made. It wasn't about getting credit. And so most of the time I didn't take it. In fact, I never took it until recently. So it's about standing in your truth finally and saying, you know, I can be many things. And the person who inspired me most about that was Jennifer Lopez. You know, here was a woman who was a dancer, then took acting lessons and became really strong, wonderful actress. And then, but had always sung and said, I want to sing. And people hated her for it. They hated her ambition. They marginalized her talent. Well, you can't really be good at that. And I know respectable people who went, well, look, she's just a good dancer, because it made them feel safer. Because if you can do all those things well, what does that say about me? And they were hard on her. And she just persevered. It wasn't that it didn't hurt. It wasn't that it doesn't hurt. It was that she knew she had one life here, and she wasn't going to let them limit her life. And that inspired me to start taking credit and standing in my truth and write this salacious book and write scripts. And so I just wrote something with Richard LaGravenese that we sold to Amazon, and I wrote something for Universal, and if somebody says, so are you a writer? I'd say I'm a producer, and I'm a writer, and I'm an agent, and I'm all those things. How odd is it that we ask kids when they're 14, what is it you want to be for the rest of your life? And then we hold them to it. We hold them to it. Shame on us. I'd say the world is your oyster. Be as many things as you want to be. Find out what your passion is. You don't only have to do one thing. So for believe in people, I would say, take off the corset.
That might be a little hard for me to do at this point in my life, but I'll give it a try.
Yes, if you've got a screenplay in you, write it. The point is, the only thing, I wrote a script. I actually ended up getting rewritten, so I feel less ownership on it, but it doesn't matter. I wrote a script called Second Act that I had conceived.
I love that movie.
Thank you. Which is, the only thing stopping you is you.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying you can't be the guy who writes a great novel or screenplay, or you want to act, declare what you are and then go chase it. People are counting on the fact it makes them feel safer when you only do one thing. It makes them feel safer maybe when you stop. So to your ageism question, stop if you want to stop, not because you have to, not because somebody tells you to.
In all of what you've told us in your multifaceted day from dawn till dusk and perhaps beyond, where is there time for you in there, and what do you do with it?
Well, I need to start moving because I have become quite accustomed to sitting on my ass. So I need to start moving. I guess that's for me. I love what I do, Kevin. And when you really love it, when it feeds your soul, it is for me. I love it. I love it. I love being with my husband. I love doing it when I'm around Dan. So, you know, if I had my druthers, he'd be with me all the time, but he's got a life. So it's, but when you love what you do, I think it would be painful to stop doing it.
It's such a great attitude.
I guess I need to exercise. I need to take walks more. I need to move my body. And
you love animals. Do you have pets, Elaine?
I have a god dog. The guy who takes care of our house upstate, he's sort of, yes, I share a Weimaraner. I love him today. I love him, love him, love him. I had a Weimaraner who I put in one of my movies, Made in Manhattan, and he was the love of our lives, and we had him till he was 14. And you know, dogs remind us what angels they are, and I love animals. So I now have Linus, and Linus is just my heart, and I love seeing him. I love being with him. I love holding him. So yes, I love that. Somebody said, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And I said, probably not anything too different than what I'm doing. I'd set up scholarships for people. What do they call those? Genius scholarships, where I say, here's money, go do what you want to do. But I like what I'm doing, and I would hate to stop doing it. But if I stopped doing it, I'd have to find something else I like. That's the secret, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Can I take something really tweaked in my head when you mentioned earlier that a lot of the people in your business are very smart, whip smart probably, but they're also very curious, and that is a word. Lots of times when I'm talking to students and the like, our younger people, the one thing they ask is what sort of talent do you need to have? And my answer is often you need to be curious. You need to be aware of what's going on around you and be interested in it. Do you find that is there a community out there of like-minded people along this way that are looking for that nugget?
I think some of the best people I know, people I'm most attracted to, are people who are curious, who ask questions, who genuinely care. It's a sign of a world outside their world. I'm not saying that all people I work with are, but I would like to become more curious. I think
it's kind of childlike in a way.
Huh?
It's kind of childlike in a way, but it's very interesting to be curious.
Oh, I don't think it's childlike. I think it's the opposite of narcissist. I think you're looking out and saying, who are you? What do you do? I think it's a selfless quality that keeps you interested in people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I worry I'm too insular. And so I'm drawn to people who aren't. Mm-hmm. I like people who can make friends with many different people. And and hear their stories. Look, I'm a storyteller. Yeah. So I like telling people how I survived. As Sue Menger said, my career wasn't planned. It happened, right? It just happened. and there's no trajectory. So the thing I'd say to you guys and to your listeners is, again, if you want to do something, do it. Figure out a way to do it. Many people in the world are threatened when you're maybe of retiring age and you're not retiring. Look around you, the people that, like I said, Spielberg, Clint Eastwood, all of, you know, you
Judi
can't really
Dench.
cite too many women, but, you know, you keep going because you want to.
Yeah.
If you
Bill Nye.
stop because you want, okay, good. All of these people, it's just about not holding yourself to a standard set by others. And that's what Jennifer Lopez has taught me. She really celebrates the why not.
Yeah. Sounds like such a great partnership. And Elaine, we ask, and we really appreciate your time. We ask all our guests this one question, and you've really answered it, but I guess more deeply, why do you believe in people?
Because the world would be lonely without them. I mean, it's like one hand clapping. Who's going to celebrate? Who's going to celebrate our stories? Who's going to pass them on? Who's going to
Who's going to tell
us?
them? Who's going to listen to them?
I mean, why would you not believe in people? I mean, I believe people are good, and not all people, but there's goodness out there, and I'm here to tell you there's possibility out there.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out how you have to figure out a way in. Getting the yes. I might call the book Getting the Yes, or She Just Wanted In, or The Rise of the Sexy Terry. We're very excited. I'll let you know next year. But yeah. And then I'm getting ready to go to a junket to promote Shotgun Wedding, a movie we made in the pandemic.
Wow.
The top of 21. It was challenging and it was fun, and it's a lot of fun, that movie. It's on Amazon Prime on January 27th, and it's fun. It's Jennifer Lopez, Jennifer Coolidge, Josh Duhamel, Lenny Kravitz, and it's a little like Romancing the Stone. Fun.
Oh, cool. We'll look forward to seeing that.
Before we let you go, I want to ask you this, and that is, us on the outside, what is the biggest misconception that we have as people about Hollywood?
That stars aren't human, that they don't have anxiety and fears and depression and feelings. I think the internet has really created a culture where people think they can say the most horrible things. They think they can say anything. With these comments and these harassment, and it's taken our First Amendment rights and it's gone crazy.
Mm.
And I would say that anybody, I think people feel like, well, you're putting yourself out there, so I can say anything. You're a public figure. What are actors? They're telling stories, but they're not putting their lives there for you to tear them apart. It hurts.
Yeah.
And if you think it doesn't,
and of course the cowardice involved in putting yourself out there with these criticisms with some handle that is not your own name, and you're an anonymous.
You hide behind your anonymity, and it's bad.
It's just how,
I guess that's what
how
I would say.
things have gotten.
This is your modern day storytellers. They're actors on a stage, showing you a piece of a character to sort of connect with your own, that will somehow move you or make you laugh or make you cry or make you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems glamorous, and I guess for some people it is glamorous, but it's also very revealing and personal. So I guess I would say that would be the misconception.
I must say that the real joy that I still get out of seeing a film is the fact that while I'm sitting there in the theater having my little popcorn, I find someone on the screen that I can identify with. Oh yeah, I think like that, or what would I do? Which is why I still love films, because you can still lose yourself in there.
I think the best actors tap into the human condition.
Yeah.
And they make you feel the sense of community, even if it's somebody who's pretty messed up. Yeah. The best actors find the humanity in the villain. Mm. And maybe for a minute, you're not so alone, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're all alone. And it's that sense of human community. So I would say respecting each other in this world of, clickbait. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all this with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was going to say I turned my comments off on my Instagram because I'm so public, because I didn't want to see cruel things.
Yeah.
I only let people comment who I follow, because I didn't want people to sit behind a desk and think I'm going to punch you and just take it. And in that way, it made me feel better,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
modern day tomato.
Thanks, Elaine.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking forward to the movie and your book that's coming out. I love it.
All right, Amy,
and congratulations.
Nice Kevin, nice
you too, Elaine.
Thank you so much. Keep going, guys.
My takeaway from this conversation is that Hollywood and the movie industry and all the glamour and the lights and the searchlights and everything is so attractive. And it was very satisfying for me to speak and listen to someone who sees it all from the inside and does see that there is some light that comes out of all of this.
And to that point, Kevin, I think the one thing that really stuck with me was when you're unsure or you're trying to navigate the industry and it moves every which way, but the direction you hope it goes, is to sometimes you just have to float. And I love that she said that. Right. That's fabulous.
And believe in yourself and believe in people. And if you want to continue on believing in people and listening to others who do, please subscribe to our modest little podcast called Believe in People. And Amy and I, Kevin Tibbles, will meet up with you again next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.